amazing job that Jessica's been doing and why that we're here today for her. And it's amazing to see when you add up all the things she's done in her 4 short years in the Air Force. 4 short years, not short. It's years, but it's amazing. She started out obviously hails from the Kansas City area. Went to Missouri University of Science Technology, Missouri S&T. She got her Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. Did the 5-year program, but she's also involved in ROTC, Air Force ROTC. That's how she got her commission. Detachment 442, which is actually a pretty large detachment. And you'd probably not be too surprised to hear that Jessica was the detachment commander her last semester. So I didn't question her about it, but I'm pretty sure she ran a tight ship on that time. I'd be curious to hear more about that. But her first assignment, straight out of college then, was here to Wright-Patt, to the Lifecycle Management Center, to the Inspector General. And for those not maybe aware as much, Inspector General overall is just kind of that independent organization in the Air Force that really makes sure our other organizations are following policy. They uphold the integrity of the Air Force, kind of keep this constant making ourselves better so that we can have our mission effectiveness increasing. But she was actually, there's only one lieutenant per year that gets pulled into this job. Jessica was the one. It's kind of the theme you'll get here. And she traveled a lot. She was actually part of the advanced team in many cases that interviewed folks before the inspection team got there. And she had a lot of interactions with general officers, SES's senior executive service, civilians. And really it started her, you'll start to get the theme here. She was the center CGO of the quarter. And then the 3-star recognized her as being number 2 of 7 for her first year, which generally lieutenants, the first couple of years, you don't see very many stratifications these days. It's because there's so many lieutenants coming in, and you typically reserve your stratification for your top performers. But here she already started to be recognized by even the 3-star. Second year then, she stayed in LCMC, but now went to the program offices. A lot of our engineers, a lot of our young folks go there. She started off in WLZ, which is our Mobility and Training Aircraft Directorate. And there she was in charge of working the acquisition of the maintenance training system for the TX, the follow-on advanced trainer for the T-38 replacement. But it wasn't there for long, because then she got pulled over to WNU, which is the Human Systems Division of the Agile Combat Support Directorate. And if you remember a couple years back, this is when the T6, our primary trainer, started having a UPE, unexplained physiological events. Pilots were coming back complaining of hypoxia-like symptoms, and just started brought down the aircraft for a while, and just all sorts of folks, general officers, pretty much everybody involved in trying to figure out what was going on. Quickly, they gave Jessica, hey, for your job, you need to be working on this. And so they put her to work. And so she was by name requested by a 2-star and SES to work on the Safety Investigation Board for the T6. Pretty amazing when you start thinking about there's a first lieutenant, or second lieutenant at the time doing that. So what started as more of an investigation then moved into a program for her, and then she became in charge of the Spider program, which was basically a piece of equipment, non-invasive recording, data monitoring device that pilots would put in their helmets, kind of in the ear cups. They would just monitor, again, non-invasively, all your vital signs, your oxygen content, things to kind of keep track of when they come down to see, okay, how did my body do in the aircraft, and if any of these events happen, can I help explain what went on? But essentially, she was doing biomedical work, engineering work, as an aerospace engineer, which unfortunately, our engineering in the Air Force kind of does that. You get an engineering degree, and you can kind of be put just about anywhere. But she did that and did that well. And a fun fact she mentioned, so when she was working on the investigation of the T6, Jay, her fiance, was actually flying the T6 as a student. So certainly a vested interest, but that wasn't the only reason. You'll find out more that there was much more to her passion for working with that. Went TD-wide advanced, did some chamber testing, did some egress testing on some potential solutions. But I'd say one of the biggest things I saw, though, her work directly fed a decision by Dr. Roper, the head of Air Force Acquisition, on essentially not to purchase a piece of kit that was going to modify the pilot's oxygen hose, and instead go with different emergency procedures. But again, the work Jessica was doing directly fed to SAP-AQ decision, which is just impressive. So then, though, so that was 2 years. Now our third year, we pull her into the engineering home office, if you will. So she is this is where I really got to meet Jessica. And for those, if you're not aware or familiar with what an exec does, it's not a secretary. There's so much more. She was in charge of herding a bunch of high-powered cats, if you will. She had 3 SESs, 6 general officer equivalent civilians, 3 colonels. Not to mention that she had the whole front office for an organization of about 500 people spread over 6 bases. Just a crazy amount of responsibility for what she was doing. But she couldn't leave well enough alone. And if you know Jessica, you'll know that she can't just do a job the way it's always been done, right? She was always looking how to make this better. So she actually completely overhauled the tasker management system that we have. We have a lot of taskers that flow in and out of the engineering directorate. Overhauled that so much that other directorates started asking, hey, can we have that too? So we started porting out what she had done with that system. A new tracking system for our military folks, even in this, all after we launched our full-time military admin assistant in the office. So she was an office of one doing all this. Center even asked her to do a 3-star, it was a 3-star sanctioned study for junior forces and looking at some morale issues that was going on in the junior force ranks. She took care of that. One of the neat significant events she told me about, she was called to go to the AFCON, Air Force Convention in DC. And this is pretty neat. It was a non-traditional media outlets that were trying to get more military articles or more kind of reporting on things. And so you had folks come and get interviewed. She was the only lieutenant in a panel of FGOs, field grade officers, that was interviewed. It was a Women in Innovation panel. And so she was, again, the only lieutenant on this panel. Things like she had interviewed by folks like Popular Mechanics, Women's Day, and People magazine. But here, this year's what I believe really shows her character. Through all of this, all the exec duties, which you can be aware of, that keeps a person very busy. She stayed involved in this whole physiological monitoring project from her past job. She had such a passion for that that she stayed involved in the basically the physiological action team in the whole Spider program. She just wanted pilots. She had a passion for pilot safety and what she had been doing before. So that just spoke volumes. And then her recognition started to catch up with her. She had Directorate CGO of the Year, and then the 3-star recognized her as number 2 of 667 lieutenants in the center. Just an amazing number, which I have not seen before this. So you get through a year at exec. We'd love to have her for second year. We did keep her, but we can't keep her as a second year as an exec. That's not fair to her. But we did ask her to start a program here at Wright-Patt. It's the Aircraft Battle Damage Repair Engineering Program, ABDRE. It exists in the Air Force, but there hasn't been anything in Wright-Patt for a long time. So she started up the program getting engineers trained here. She briefed our AFMC 4-star, who was thrilled about it. Just basically got engineers trained in Wright-Patt as a cadre. And the program itself is designed to get engineers trained so they can make design repairs for aircraft in the field often that need to fly, that typically battle damage. So you either need to get back in the air for the mission or to ferry flight to a maintenance facility. Pause for some.
Yeah, if you don't mind pausing. It says connecting. The sun went away.
Yeah, that breeze felt good.
I know.
She was getting hit by the flag.
It's okay. Got it.
Like the clouds.
My phone's on again if you want to check.
She's getting I think the service just dropped for a second in the hangar.
Started shaking because it's shut off. He was kind of recording. The guy still talking.
True Lies
Yes, that's it.
What?
with
Uh-huh.
Schwarzenegger. Jamie Lee Curtis.
We could just record it, I can send it to them.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's just got hot again,
That's
so.
fine.
Okay. Gotcha.
We'll just record it and I'll send it to
Is there
them.
still
She's still recording.
Okay. All right. welcome to the recording, version 2. So we left off. So she started at Aircraft Battle Damage Repair Engineering Program, right, Pat? Yeah, briefly 4-star. Amazing program. It just helps, again, folks out in the field get engineers hooked up with maintainers, and you guys here can obviously realize her passion for that and making that gap, bridging that gap. So she, her accolades continued though. So for this year, she had the Directorate's Junior Military Engineer of the Year award, and even more. And you get this. So she hasn't heard this yet because I've seen it, but she has now. Her next OPR will be number 1. Thank you very much, of the 667 lieutenants in the center. So congratulations. And that's again amazing. So just greatness in front of us here. So what's next on the horizon? She obviously has been here. She's headed off to McConnell end of the month. So she's been selected for the Elite program, the Acquisition and Logistics Experience Exchange Tour. Essentially become a maintenance officer for a day or a couple years. And but just like Jessica, she has a challenge coming up, and she rushes headlong into getting ready for it. She's going to be taking charge of a unit that's going to have 28 KC-135s, and all before she actually gets to take her maintenance officer tech school. So what she do? She comes over here and contacts you guys, and you guys thankfully bring her in and starts working and learning maintenance, signing off on training events, turning wrenches, being out here and getting that experience. So when she shows up, she's ready to go. So that good on you guys and on her. Just amazing the work that's been going on. And so, HRs, thank you for sponsoring, and all of you, thanks for being a part of that and helping advance her career. Other thing coming up, of course, Jay have their wedding coming up in November. So wish you guys the best in both of your Air Force careers and, of course, your family life together. Just congratulations. Last thing, if I had to sum up one thing for Lieutenant Ferris, though, kind of a saying, it would be enthusiasm is contagious. Not a everybody's heard that, but honestly, that I believe sums up her. She quickly develops this passion for whatever she's doing, runs into it, and honestly, people can't help but join her to that. I'm sure she could probably convince half of us or all of us here to back her new bakery business, which you haven't heard about. Ask her about it. Just know that the chief taste tester position is already taken. But honestly, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen her passion for maintenance, and it's probably, I believe I've heard, it's hard to resist inviting her out there when someone gets so much joy about being out and turning wrenches and learning new things. So that enthusiasm is contagious. So always keep that enthusiasm in your job. Honestly, it's gonna not only will you enjoy going to work every day, but the people around you are gonna love working for you and with you. I thank you for your dedication to our Air Force, always making the jobs that you're in better than when you found them. And I can't think, honestly, of anyone more deserving to be pinning on captain bars. So this is a great. I'm glad everyone's here. I'm glad you can experience this. I'm honored to be here. So I look forward to hearing where you go from here, what happens in your Air Force career, because I know there'll be many more times where you're going to make a difference, a noticeable difference in the Air Force. So congratulations and thank you. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Ferris will now be presented with the Air Force Achievement Medal. Please rise for the reading of the citation. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Air Force Achievement Medal. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America has awarded the Air Force Achievement Medal for outstanding achievement from 18 January 2018 to 10 August 2018. First Lieutenant Jessica N. Ferris distinguished herself by outstanding achievement while assigned to Human Systems Program Office, Agile Combat Support Directorate, Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, Air Force Materiel Command, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. During this period, Lieutenant Ferris led the Air Force's response to combating environmental hazards and developing physiological monitoring devices. In this capacity, she orchestrated the verification and validation of a sensor, leading to the resolution of unexplained physiological events that grounded the T-6 fleet and over 1,800 pilots. Her expertise enabled the first physiological sensor procurement, transitioning from the Requirement Development Contract Award in a remarkable 13-day timeframe. Furthermore, she directed the Pulse and Hypoxia Observation Gear Program's evaluation through 13 test events. Her Their tireless determination resulted in a vital safe to fly and airworthiness approval, enabling the concept of operations to be vectored to other environments. Finally, Lieutenant Ferris poised her program to operationally test the first physiological sensor with a hypoxia warning system, propelling physiological monitoring Air Force-wide and ensuring the safety of pilots across the fleet. The distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Ferris reflect credit upon herself and the United States Air Force.
All right, so we'll take a picture here. Awesome. There we go. Publish the orders.
Please remain standing for the publishing of the promotion orders. Attention to orders. The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Air Force, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of First Lieutenant Jessica Ferris. In view of these special qualities and her demonstrated potential to serve in the higher grade, First Lieutenant Jessica Ferris is promoted to the grade of Captain, United States Air Force, effective 7 June 2020 by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Would Major Karen Garst please come forward to help me pin the new rank of Captain on Jessica Ferris? Do you want a picture? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the re-administration of the oath of office.
I state your full name.
I, Jessica Nicole Ferris,
Having been appointed a Captain, United States Air Force,
having been appointed a captain in the United States Air Force,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Awesome.
Please be seated. It is my privilege to introduce to you Captain Jessica Ferris.
I'm going to make this really, really short because it's hot. I just want to thank all of you for coming today, especially in this heat. I really, really appreciate everything that all of you guys have done, and my family. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm glad you'll get to see this eventually. But thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is a very bittersweet ending for me here. I've done a lot, and I've got to the opportunity to do a lot. I've had some amazing supervisors that kind of just unleashed me and let me fail and learn from my mistakes, and I am forever grateful, and Dayton is definitely going to hold a special place in my heart forever. For my family, I'm excited you guys get to see this. This is what I've been doing in Ohio for 4 years. I'm really excited to come home for a little bit, which isn't normal on active duty. To my sister, I love you. You are my baby sister, but I look up to you in so many ways. Mom and Dad, I'm excited to live 2 doors down from you when I get there. For those of you that don't know, that's happening. And then for Jay, really excited to start this next chapter of our lives together. For those of you that don't know, we've been together for almost 7 years, apart for almost 5. So it's been a long time coming, and I really love you, and I can't wait to get down there. So thank you. We have food, we have cakes, of course, and I'm done.